Hi, guys. Welcome back to Bar Exam. It's your girl, Allie Rayner, and I'm here with the amazing Bar Exam crew. We actually have Mr. Shane G in the building, subbing in for Marcus right now. Say hello, Shane.
What's the deal? What up, though?
Hello, hello. And then we have, as always, Mr. Eric G. What's up, Eric?
What's up, people?
I like that little dance you did. All right, so welcome back to another episode of Bar Exam. This week, we actually have a very interesting topic. This one was a little bit different because we've done duos, we've done collabs, but this one was a little bit different in terms of the relationship. So this week, coming before the bar is, well, this is our debate basically. What rappers do we believe should mentor other rappers so that they step up their bars? So when I say that, I mean for example, when Lil Wayne was the mentor to Drake or even Nicki Minaj, like that, they even say that his work and him influencing them really helped them step up their bars and set their career up to be as amazing as they are today. So we were wondering what it would be like if we decided to pick who we thought would be great mentors for today's group of rappers. So I don't know if Eric, do you want to go first, or would you like me to do the honors?
I would like you to do the honors because I want to see where your take goes first.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So for me, I had to choose Lil Uzi because he's been very popular lately. He dropped an album recently. It did really, really well, actually, streaming wise. But he actually said that he wasn't super happy about it because I guess like a lot of fans were upset because they felt as though they wanted him to go a little bit deeper. Maybe they wanted him to get a little bit more lyrical content in it. And so he said that like if they helped him send it up to number one, he would drop another album for them that was a little bit more of what they were asking for. So I thought it was pretty interesting to choose him because of what he's already known for in the media right now and like his new album. The person who I think would be amazing as his mentor is actually Andre 3000. So I know this might feel like kind of left field. You know, Andre 3000 is very unique in his own right. I think that Andre likes to play around with like rap and pop. And he likes to do that kind of melancholy subject matter, but he's using music and cadence and melodies that are like super upbeat and happy. So I think that he really plays around with you in that sense. And that's why I kind of picked him to be the mentor for Uzi because Uzi already is super unique himself. He already has a different style in terms of like he has this emo, punk, um, Atlanta trap, a little bit of Chicago drill in there. Like he's already super unique in his own right. But I think that they would do really, really well together because Andre 3000 is amazing when it comes to really complex ideas and subjects, but he makes them super simple in his lyrics and his verses. And I think that he could really help Uzi without changing him too much because Uzi already is an artist who likes to kind of play around with like melodies. Sometimes he'll go in and he'll rap really, you know, like really hard and shit. Like he did. He was actually kind of fun and playful on Bad and Bougie because at the beginning he kept saying yeah 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 yeah, but in the end, like his verse I think was actually really good. A lot of people would say that that was probably one of their favorite parts of the song. So I think that he can rap really when he wants to, but I feel as though sometimes his subject matter isn't where people want him to be talking about. Like they want him to be kind of a little bit more elevated now that he's already talked about clothes and women and fast cars, all that kind of stuff. So I think Andre 3000 could really help him out and help him lyrically, maybe help him continue to keep his style, but just help him with his subject matter. Eric, what do you think about that?
Our debate is going to come down between who is the better mentor for Uzi.
Okay.
Because I agree with everything you said. I think I'm glad, and I'm not going to say who my mentor is yet, but I'm glad that we both picked rappers who are deemed as weirdos to help out another weirdo.
Right?
So it works out. It works out for sure. I think Andre is a great pick because, kind of like you said, he can mentor Uzi without him changing Uzi's style up too much. He can show him how to conceptualize it a little bit more. He can show him the like ways in like where to put certain bars and how to put certain bars here and how to, you know, differentiate the ad libs, how to make them feel more special. Because I remember when he was doing that thing and everyone hated it. And it's funny that you bring up that Bad and Bougie verse. People either love or hate that verse because of the way that he rapped it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People either think it's the best verse on the song or they think it's the worst verse on the song. There's no in between there. So it's really a style thing at that point. It's really what you find to be better stylistically wise. But somebody like 3 Stacks could come in and be like, I see what you were doing, but tweak this here a little bit. Say another ad lib there instead of like flip it up a little bit. And it's not like Uzi only says as the ad lib, but that's what we know him for.
Right. Right.
Whereas 3 Stacks could come in and be like, you could be known for this too. Mm-hmm. Something like that. I also think that just his ability to be like kind of ghost and then pop out and have like a crazy verse and then just disappear for a little bit. I think that could play a lot into the strength of Uzi too, because one thing about him is that when he's active for a while, and then when he goes quiet, he goes quiet. Like we don't really hear much from him unless he is touring or something like that. But if we're talking about his visibility, like his visibility is only apparent when he's dropping albums, and I think 3 Stacks could really help him showcase how rare of a person that he really is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think that is a great person to pick for Uzi. My person that I picked is Travis Scott. So I picked Travis Scott for a couple of reasons. The first reason I picked him is because Uzi and Travis not only both put out albums within the same month, but I think are the only rappers so far this year to have #1 albums. If that is incorrect, someone fact check me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure that's right now, that's the standard. Uzi and Travis, that's it, that have gone #1. Now, whereas on Uzi's album, people had a lot of criticisms about the substance, about the concepts, about the lyrical ability, about like where he was taking us with it. People said that it didn't feel very complete. Like it felt like it was void of a lot of stuff. And when I listened to it, I could kind of hear what people were talking about. Like it's a lot of experimentation without really nailing it down. Whereas with Travis on this last album on Utopia that he just dropped, I think the 4-year wait between Astroworld and this was absolutely worth it. You can tell that he took his time from the content that he's talking about. He's rapping a whole lot more on this album. That's one thing that I noticed. He really made an effort to rap on this album. And even with it being auto-tune laced and all that, he still made a point to rap. I feel like Uzi did too much of... Uzi tried to sound too much like Playboi Carti on this album. That's my hot take. Uzi's tried too much to go far left, whereas people like we bring up, like the 3 Stacks, like the Travises, they will go left, but they still stay in their pocket.
Yeah.
And they've mastered that. I feel like Uzi is so... like in his mind is so creative, but it's so all over the place, and there's nobody to wrangle him in and really show him how to actually execute these ideas. Whereas I feel like somebody like Travis and 3 Stacks is perfect for that.
That used to be what producers did back in the day. That was their whole job, was to, like, we traditionally think of the producer in rap now as just the dude who makes the beat. But that historically is not the case. And that's still not the case in other genres of music. You know what I mean? Like in rock and roll, the producer's not the guy who writes the music. The band typically writes the music. They write the instrumentation, they write the drum patterns, they write the words. You know what I mean? Usually that's all from the band. But they don't get the producer credit. The producer is the person who's essentially quarterbacking the situation. They're like the coach of the situation, or they're the guy. Like I've produced in that sense in the studio for dudes, like, and just been like, hey man, just like Eric said, like when you say the line, say it a little bit like this, or yo, like that line means something. Like you should like make sure that you bring it. Like when you say that particular line, like you can be a little bit lax, but then when you say that, hit it. Like, you know what I mean? Just those little tips, that's producing. So like when it comes to music. So, you know, in that sense, I think Uzi needs that. So, you know what I mean? Like if he were to have like a really good traditional producer, like even like a Dr. Dre, like, yeah, he makes the beats, but he also is telling the artist how to make the record. Also, he's like, you can write what you want, but if it's trash, I'm gonna tell you to rewrite it. And I'm gonna tell you what I want to hear on this beat. I'm gonna basically give you the concept, or if I just want you to talk shit or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you what you should do on the beat, and I'm gonna help you craft it. It's up to you to actually paint the picture.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I think Uzi needs that based on, you know what I'm saying, what I'm hearing.
It's very funny that you say that because Travis does produce as well.
You see what I'm saying? So there you go.
And he produced on this new album, which is something that he's gone back to. Like when he first dropped like his like mixtapes and stuff like that back in the day, he had his own production on it. But then when like the like big production studio albums came, that's when he went and got the Metro Boomins, Mike Deans, Sonny Digitals, people like that. Whereas on this one, he kind of went back to his roots. Like he produced a lot on this, even though he still had co-production help, he still had a lot of input. And I think that's the reason why it sounds the way that it does.
Yeah,
absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah. So Shane, who do you think out of our picks, because me and Eric already have chosen our picks, our sides, who do you think is the ultimate mentor for Uzi then out of our two picks?
So, I mean, out of your two picks, I'm going to be honest, I am biased just because, you know, for one, I grew up with 3 Stacks. You know what I'm saying? Like I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. So, you know, I grew up with 3 Stacks. Uzi came around at a time where I wasn't really listening to too much new rap. So I'm not very familiar with, or I'm sorry, not Uzi. Well, Uzi also, but I meant Travis.
Gotcha.
So I'm not very familiar with Travis's catalog outside of like the regular hits that everybody knows, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know enough about his album work or his mixtapes or nothing like that. Whereas like 3 Stacks, I know his catalog and it's fire. So, I would personally pick 3 Stacks. So,
yeah. Okay. I mean, that's fair. Honestly,
I'm mad at that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that honestly, what would be cool is if all of them were in the studio in a
I was thinking that. I was thinking that. I was like, they should all just be in the studio
he
together.
could teach Travis some things that Travis can then spread, and then Uzi can then spread, and then they could keep that certain things going. Like there's always been those weirdos in hip hop, you know what I mean? That's always existed. You know, Tribe Called Quest was kind of weird when they came out. Like not really the way they rapped or anything like that, but as far as like the way they dressed and their videos, it was like real silly and real. You know what I mean? De La Soul was kind of like that. Like there's a few groups from like the early 90s that was like that. And then of course 3 Stacks, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, there's always been that. So
yeah, there's always been forms of weirdos in rap.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and even in the Detroit scene, like I was watching an interview today with Bizarre, shout out to Bizarre from D12, but he was always the super weirdo out of D12. They was all weird, like in the sense of what they was rapping about. Like, not really in modern context, because what was they rapping about at the time? They was rapping about doing pills and killing people. That's what rappers rap about now. Yeah. It's just, they delivered it in a comedic way back then. You know what I mean? That's really the only difference. But there was also a whole scene with these dudes like Esham, and then this is where ICP came from. And it was called horrorcore. And it was like sort of like what Eminem does when he's like in his Slim Shady character and he like goes over the top violent. That's based on horrorcore, which is like it was a scene in Detroit in like the 90s. So it's like there's that weird shit has always existed. So, you know, in the words of Marcus, you know, shout out my nigga Uzi.
Shout out to him. Yeah, like, honestly, I wanted to talk about Uzi without it seeming like we were like shitting on him, because obviously he's doing amazing. You know, like he's got this fucking streams. Like I think they said like one of his albums dropped and did like 400 million streams in the first week. Like that's insane. So it's not that he doesn't have the numbers, but I just think that you know, anybody can be better than what they're doing now, right? And I think that even
and I saw a good tweet. I saw, that's funny you say that. I saw a good tweet the other day and it said, if you can't tell me that your favorite artist has either one trash project or one trash song, I can't trust you, period, basically. And I'm like, yeah, that's real. Like, Game is one of my favorite rappers. I don't like the Red album. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a good album. Like, I think it has good songs on it, but I don't think cohesively front to back, it's his best work. I never go back to that album. You know what I mean? So, and I listen to his mixtapes and everything. Like, I have everything it is, but I don't fuck with that one. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's got one. So, you know, it's no hate, Uzi.
Exactly. Yep. If you're experimenting, like that's bound to happen, right? Like,
yeah.
You're just doing the same old shit. You're gonna have the same audience, and then eventually they get tired of you as well. So yeah, you gotta experiment. Come to your
yeah, even if it don't work.
And it's not always gonna work. That's why it's experimenting. You know what I'm saying? You figure out what works.
Yeah, I think I respect those type of artists more because you can tell that they want to grow. They want to do something different. I think people who stay the same character, we start to see it for what it is, a character, you know, whereas somebody's growing, you're like, oh, okay, there's layers.
It's just a hustle. It's like, oh, you look at music as a hustle versus somebody who's like, no, I'm a musician. Like, you know what I mean? I love music. I just happen to also get paid a lot. Like, there's a difference. So
yeah, absolutely. We could keep going on. I was gonna say something else, but I was like, let's not. Anyway, we gotta get
I was too.
Anywho, a subject for another day. But Shane, how about you give us your pick then?
All right, I got one. I definitely got one. So shout out to my July 6th brethren for 50 Cent. I think that he needs to mentor an up-and-coming battle rapper, or not an up-and-coming battle rapper, excuse me. He's an up-and-coming rapper, I would say, as far as on the mainstream side. And he is known in battle rap, but he's one of the battle rappers that was able to actually transition into music and make it actually work for himself. And that's a guy named Sue Surf. Now, I got to say free Sue Surf because he was indicted, you know, with a bunch of gang members in New Jersey. And it's a whole thing, you know, it happened either earlier this year or I believe it was earlier this year. He got, you know, locked up and it was in the news and stuff because, again, he was getting known. Like, he had features with Jadakiss, Beanie Siegel, Benny the Butcher, Dave East, Joe Budden took him on tour.
You know what I mean? Podcasts right before.
He was starting to get regular appearances on Joe's podcast, like right before he got locked up. So, you know, free him. But that's sort of why I feel like 50 would be a good mentor for him, because we all know 50's background story. You know, we all know he was in the streets. We all know what was going on, the shooting, everything. You know what I mean? The beef with Ja Rule, Preem, everybody. Everybody knows the whole story and what he came out of. But what I noticed with 50 was he did what everyone from the hood says they want to do, which is become successful, be able to leave the hood. And he left the hood and stayed out the hood. Mm-hmm. I was asking Eric this earlier, and I was like, try to name me a time where 50 Cent was like on a DVD or on, you know, social media or something like that, just hanging out in the projects. Like, when have you ever seen that since he's been on? Since Get Rich or Die Trying Drop, like, name me one time where he's just been kicking it in the projects and it's on film somewhere. Never. I don't think there's one time. Not even for a video. He don't be in the hood. That's my point. Like he literally left the hood, but he maintained all of his street credibility still. He's transitioned it into being a great businessman, and instead of attacking people physically, he does it in rhymes now. You know what I mean? He does it battle rapping niggas, or you know what I mean? He'll do other shit like with the Rick Ross shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he'll meme you to death, different things like that, but he's not like doing nothing to you anymore. Like he's beyond that. And so, you know, the whole situation with Surf, I feel like it was sort of the opposite way, where Surf, yeah, he was from the hood too. He was involved in the streets heavy as well, but battle rap on, you know, YouTube, specifically on URL and Smack, he was really building a name. All of his battles on there have 1 million views plus. Most of them have multiple million views. And again, I named you all the features, you know, that he's gotten and been on Nate projects and vice versa. He had a whole mixtape with Mozzie called Blood Cousins. And so he was really on the come up, and he was making money doing music and battling, but he was using that allegedly, you know what I mean? This is what he was indicted for, and this is what it says in the stuff. Let me allegedly, you know. But he was allegedly using all of that money to fund gang activities, essentially, whether it be drug sales or hits on people or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? He had been shot 5 times like a few years before that, and he's done multiple prison stints, you know, the whole time he's been battle rapping. So it's like, we see the example of the street nigga who maintained all of his image and his respect and credentials, and nobody doubts 50 Cent. Nobody thinks he's a punk. Nobody thinks none of that shit. And he completely stays out the hood. Mm-hmm. And then you have the opposite example of that, which is Sue Surf, who had the money, you know, had the fame, and was still in the hood all the time, getting into shit. Like, why are you still in Newark when you're getting million view battles for the last 10 years? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's shit like that. Like, cause, you know, so it's like, you know, he needs somebody like 50 who can mentor him in a way where, yo, let me show you how to move, still maintain who you are, still maintain your respect, still not be a pushover, but just let's transition it from the streets into business properly. So that way you can enjoy the shit. You know what I mean? Cause now, I don't know how much time he's facing, but it's not a little number. You know, I can tell you that. It's an indictment with his whole gang. So, you know, like I said, free Sue Surf, but that's who I would like to see mentor him if he gets the chance, is 50 Cent.
Yeah. I like that pick because he is a battle rapper. And I feel as though there's just, for some weird reason, I feel as though so many battle rappers that somehow, like, you can be an amazingly successful, lyrical battle rapper, be creative as fuck, but somehow that doesn't necessarily always mean that translates to you being, like, a mainstream, like, able to be marketable, you know, type of rapper, you know? And so, but I feel like they're so important because they're so creative. I feel like when you listen to battle raps, you're like, damn, where did this nigga get this shit from? You know, like, there's so much creativity there. But somehow they just don't always get the same shot. I don't know. I guess it's because it isn't like they're singing songs or like a diss record or something like that. You know what I mean? So
I think that's what a lot of it is. I think there's a few things. I think, for one, there was a crop of battle rappers that were popular in the mid 2000s, I would say. And a few of them got deals. Okay. And then you got to remember, this was also around the 106 in Park time. I don't know if you know. So you remember Freestyle Friday. Yeah. So you remember Jin? You remember Jin? He was an Asian rapper, and he was killing dudes on there. And he won the whole thing, right? And at the end of it, he ended up getting a contract from Rough Riders.
No way.
Put out an album, completely flopped. And it was yeah, it wasn't good. So from there was sort of a stigma that battle rappers can't make music. They're just good at like freestyling verses. Like, they can give you 1,000 bars all day, no problem.
Yeah.
But like,
when it comes to making a song, they can't.
Trying to make a song, they're not going to know how to really do it because they haven't been doing that. That's not their craft. Their craft is battling. You know what I'm saying? Like their craft isn't songwriting. So that was a stigma for a long time, really until really Sue Surf. Like Sue Surf and a couple of other dudes, they know how to make music. Like they know how to separate it. You know what I mean? Like they can, like, because Surf's albums were going #1 on Apple, and you know what I mean? Like he was doing very well musically. So he knows how to craft songs, which is what the stigma was against them. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, shout out to the battle rappers, man. Me and Eric met a gang of them when they came out to Arizona for a battle. And all the niggas was cool, man. All of them. We went, watched them hoop against a bunch of Phoenix locals afterwards and shit. Shit was dope.
That sounds like a good ass time.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you for
real quick before we move on from Surf, I just have one comment to say about Surf. Surf has a Chris Brown feature, if I'm not mistaken, does he not?
Yeah, he does.
All right.
This is why 50 will be a great mentor to him. 50 would have sat him down and been like, "You have a Chris Brown feature.
Right.
Get your ass out the streets."
Yeah.
You're like,
why
what you know what I'm saying?
Instagram DMs and seeing conversations that they shouldn't be there. I'll just put it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to make it look like, I don't know if he's been found innocent or guilty. I don't know none of that. So I'm not trying to put nothing out there that hasn't already been decided. So again, free Surf, but you know.
I think that 50 is also a great pick because what he did for Pop Smoke. Like, you know, RIP
100%.
Pop. But I think that like it's dope that he mentored Pop and that he helped him with his career as much as he did, and he finished the album for him. You know, when Pop Smoke passed away. So I thought, I think that would be such a good mentor just because of how he handled that situation and how successful that ended up being.
You know why else that's such a great example? Because you could tell Pop was really listening to 50. You like in interviews and stuff, you could just tell the way that he was like Pop was like slowly growing up and maturing in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that he was on his way out. Like he was about to make it.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about Pop. Like that makes it more sad is because he didn't get killed like not following 50's advice or no shit like that.
He was following 50's advice, if anything.
Right. He was in a nice area when he got killed. Like he just made a mistake on social media and showed his address. That's what happened. Like, if that never happened, he'd probably still be here. I don't know if he'd be hanging in the hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he was kind of beyond that. It's not like he got killed in the streets. You know what I'm saying? If he got killed in the streets, it'd be like, nigga, come on, bro. Like, you had 50 in your corner and you was, you know what I'm saying? But that's not what happened. You was in Beverly Hills or wherever you was at.
Exactly.
Like, you know?
So, be careful no matter where you're at, apparently.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Jack Boy's lurking.
Yeah.
Tap in with your folks.
Mentioning 50, okay, this might sound crazy, but I just want to see what you guys think about this. I want to see your reactions. What would you think if 50 Cent mentored Ice Spice? Would that be too weird? Like, would that be interesting? Like,
no, I could see it being like on a business level. On a business level, I could
I could see it on a business level.
On a business level, I could see it being like a Biggie Kim type of situation.
Right? I don't know. Yeah, like when I was thinking about this whole subject, I was like, who would be a great mentor for Ice Spice? And I played around with a lot of people. I think maybe Nicki Minaj is probably going to be the person who ends up kind of doing it. Like they've been doing a lot of songs together.
That was the first person that popped up in my head.
Yeah. And so that's why I was like, well, that's the natural, it already happened. But I was thinking, if it were like a New York thing or whatever, the other person I would think of might be 50 Cent, just because I feel like he knows how to like market her and how he could probably just make her have like a long lasting career, give her some really dope ass collabs like he did with Pop Smoke and stuff. So that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I just want to know what you guys thought about that one. Anyway, should we go on to our second picks then?
Let's roll.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so for my second pick, this one was different. just because I really love storytellers when it comes to rappers. So this one was interesting because these people are both like some of my favorite artists, and I think that they'd be amazing if they did a song together. But if they were to be in a mentor-mentee type of relationship, I think like the sky's the limit for either one of them. So my pick is J. Cole and Rex Life Raj. So basically, J. Cole would be the mentor to Rex Life Raj. I picked J. Cole and Rex because, like I already said, they're amazing storytellers. They're really relatable. I feel like they have this ability to make you kind of connect with them through their songs. I mean, no matter like what they're talking about. And I think that they both like to touch on a lot of daily things, relationships, internal battles. They talk about a lot of like awareness and introspection. And I think that is something that both of them do amazingly well, and it works really well for their careers and for their songs and all that kind of stuff. But I feel as though the one thing...
Can I ask you a question real quick before you continue with your thought?
Yeah.
It's sort of left field, but I just want to know both of you guys' thoughts on it.
Okay.
It just based on something that you said, like describing their music, where you said it's like introspective and, you know, they're going to touch on subjects that, you know, the average rapper isn't going to touch on, like more so like you said, relationships, everyday shit that the average person can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like if you're not a gangster rapper, right? Like if you're not a street nigga that raps, basically, that you kind of have to be in that lane? Like you have to pick the conscious route in order to be a successful rapper if you're not a street rapper?
No, because we have Drake.
Yeah, but Drake
isn't a conscious rapper.
Right.
Well, Drake, you've heard me play a lot of his older shit, and a lot of his older shit, like the Dilla inspired, more Slum Village little brother type shit. Like he was more in his introspective bag back then, and that's what I was gonna say. The longer he's been in the game, he flirts with street shit. Like he doesn't flat out say I'm gonna kill you on a record, but he very heavily implies like, yo, I'm connected, and yo, the mob ties might. I'm not going because I'm Drake, but
yeah,
these niggas.
I think that you're right. I think you really got.
You know, that is a good point. That is a good point. I forgot.
That's what I mean. Like
this is the guy that put out an album with Future and 21 Savage.
This is right. So
yeah, never mind.
I was thinking about 21 when he said.
Yeah, never mind.
So that's what I'm saying. Before he got with Young Money, and that's what they're on. He was in the conscious lane. Drake was like a backpack rapper before he was with Lil Wayne.
Yeah, you're right.
For sure. But,
so that's what I mean.
The only reason I was going to argue that is because that conscious route didn't last that long.
No,
like he stayed in that pocket for a little bit, and then once he got with Young Money, he was completely off that.
Yeah, once So Far Gone came, it was a wrap.
Yeah, So Far Gone, because there was it was blended in. That's when he started blending the two, but then after So Far Gone, it was like, nah, that shit's out of here.
Like I'm in the club where the hoes at.
I'm in the club, or I'm in my room crying over the girl that I'm hoes. One of the two.
and telling her why I'm better than her current boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to break up with that nigga and be with me. Like, and this is why.
Yeah, but see, Drake found a cool way to do it now. Like he figured out how to uncorny himself. Because now even if he does something corny now, it's like, fuck it, it's Drake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He gets the corny pass almost.
Yeah, he gets the corny pass. Oh,
yeah. All right. Anyway, I didn't distracted the whole conversation. I'm sorry. I just want to know.
No. That was a really good question, honestly. I feel like your answer is like, there's a few different parts though. Like, I think you're right. There is, what did you say? The gangster. And then there's the conscious rapper.
Yeah.
I think there's
like, let me tell you a story about old girl up the street who's struggling and her baby daddy left her, and you know what I mean, like all of that, right? Like, you're either in that lane, or you up and strap on the baby daddy. Like it's one of the two. Like,
or then there's Uzi now. I feel like Uzi.
Yeah, or there's the Uzis of the world.
And then that's the conversation that people are having. Like, is that a different, like, do you have to categorize that different? Like, yes, it's still hip hop, but like, is it rap? Like, it's hip hop for sure. I don't say it's not hip hop. It's definitely hip hop. But is it rap? Or is it like, because you know how like rock and roll has all these mad different genres. They got punk, metal, death metal, ska, alternative. Like there's mad different ways to categorize rock. Classic rock, like hip hop has that, but not really. Like it's not defined like that. Like we call shit trap, but it's like, what is trap if you define it? Like
hip hop is absolutely
hustling, right? Okay, well they was doing that in New York in the 90s. Was that trap music? No, you wouldn't call it that, right? So it's like, what is it? Like, what, you know, like hip hop is too much. Everything is too blended. So it's like, is that actually rap?
Hip hop is absolutely subgenre. We just haven't figured out names for everything yet, and haven't sticked names for everything.
That's what I'm saying.
That's all that is. That's all that is.
That's what I'm saying, though. But until we do, it's gonna kind of be a confusing conversation, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, is Travis Scott like not on the overt rap shit, but like on the sing-songy type shit? Like, is that rap? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't call it R&B. Like, I don't know really what to call it. Like,
right.
And it's
just
rapper.
music.
Like a lot of times, you know, I think Playboi Carti considers himself a rapper. I think Uzi considers himself a rapper, but maybe not all of their songs sound, or sometimes don't even rap on them. Like I think I Wanna Rock, I don't even know if he really rapped a lot. I think there was like a verse.
There's no verses on that song.
No, you think like, isn't there like, I guess like Shutting Out the Body? Yeah.
Pretty much, the whole song is pretty much a hook and a bridge.
Like Lil Wayne didn't call How to Love a rap song. You see what I'm saying? Like, he was like, no, that's rock. Like,
got you.
Like, all right,
yeah.
It's a different thing. Right. Thank you. Even though you're a rapper, like that, you acknowledge that that's not what this is. You know what I mean? He put out rock albums and labeled them rock albums. He was like, this isn't rap. You know what I mean? Even though you're still Lil Wayne, he didn't, you know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. Like, you know, I think there's a conversation to be had about applying labels. That's all.
For sure. And it's crazy that we're still figuring it out after 50 years of hip hop. So, I mean,
shout out to 50 years.
Young. Yeah. The category is still so young. We're still figuring it out. So, all right. Well, yeah. But thanks, Shane. Thanks. That was actually a really good question. Anyway, anywho.
Completely derailed the combo. You take it here.
It's all good. It's all good. So, anywho, so I was talking about basically, you know, how we were talking about, you know, they're introspective, they're great storytellers. A lot of times we're talking about relatable stuff. I think they also talk about like growth, positivity, change, all that kind of stuff. So the thing that I think that J. Cole has that I think Rex Life Raj could really take away and add to his I don't know, like his style, I would say is I think that J. Cole isn't afraid to talk about like social and political and like problems and issues and activism. I think that's where he, I think, sets himself up to be kind of more of like someone who we look at as like an icon or like a legend or like, you know, a living legend, because he's not afraid to talk about those type of things. And those things last a lot longer. They live a lot longer, you know? So, and they create like more of a conversation around them. And I think if Rex had somebody like J. Cole in the room who was like, okay, I know we've spoken about, you know, introspection and change, but maybe we need to apply that to society. Maybe we need to apply that to our culture, you know, and J. Cole isn't afraid to talk about those things. And I think that could really help Rex because he could be a little bit more, I don't know, just in the conversation in that way. And his music would get noticed more. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
No, I think that's a good observation. And yeah, I would also say that those things like fall into that conscious category as well. Like you said, you know, being politically savvy or politically aware and, you know, knowing what's going on, how the system works, all that kind of stuff. Like, so yeah, like I definitely think, you know, anybody who's already sort of in that lane, like they do sort of become one of those voices, whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
become one of those voices that people look to for answers sometimes or for information. So it's like, you know, if you're kind of, you know, if you're going to be in that lane, like it's one of those things where it's like, know what comes with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I think J. Cole is probably naturally interested in those things, and it makes it easier to create music, you know, out of that stuff. So because it's already like in him, you know what I mean? So, because from what I understand, when he was in college, he was going to protests and rallies and all types of shit. Like he's like always been kind of active politically, from what I understand. So, so yeah, like I definitely think that that would help anybody who's already in that lane.
Right. And then I also think that the stuff that he does with Dreamville, like doing that, I don't know, would you call it like trap or is it drill? I don't know. Like the last,
it's kind of trappy. It's like that mainstream kind of more trappy sound.
Right. So I think that would be cool for like, I don't know if Rex has done shit like that, but I think it would be cool to just see him kind of do
have some fun on a beat.
Have some fun. Exactly. Yeah. You know, because it works so well for J. Cole. I love when he does that kind of stuff. So I think it would be cool for Rex to do something like that out of the box for him, for sure.
Rex, you go, but I do want to go next because mine is in the conscious realm. So
okay, deal.
But you go though.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, Allie, you're one Rex bring up away for him becoming your Glorilla.
I know, I gotta stop. But I was just thinking of like how, like, you know, like there were so many different artists that I wanted to bring up for this conversation. Like I already mentioned, Ice Spice was on my mind, and like. So I was actually talking to somebody and they were like, just go off of the selections that you feel the most about. So I was like, oh, then I got to say Rex for sure. And then I got to say Uzi and Andre because I love them, you know? So I went with people who I already love and who I'm like, this is where I think that like you could really excel. And other people would love you even more, you know?
Everybody got our person. I'm pretty sure I'd have mentioned Game on here more than once. So, you know.
No, but this was my first notice of it because I'm like,
Yeah.
Great. Okay, this is time number 2 now. I just picked up on that.
I have to add to the counter.
That's what Shane's going to put in my like sub post or something like Rex's biggest fan.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there. But yeah, so my people are, like I said, they're both of the conscious variety. And again, I'm focusing on battle rappers who make music for mine because you can catch me and Eric going live every Monday for Battle Rap Mondays. You know, we just review, you know, battles and the history of battle rap and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, shameless plug to the side. We do have one of the greatest rappers of all time as the mentor, and that would be Nasir Jones. You know what I mean? He's definitely me and Eric, one of our favorite rappers of all time. I think it's actually Eric's #1 favorite rapper, if I'm not mistaken. He's in like he floats in and out of my top 3, I would say. You know, he is for sure one of the greatest ever, and he is somebody who I would describe as street conscious. So he is very much a blend of both of the basically big genres within hip hop, which is street rap, which is the majority of rap. You know what I mean? The majority of the subgenres fall within the street rap side. You know what I mean? Whether it's trap, whether it's what Uzi does, and it's just club booty shaking music. Conscious niggas don't really be at the club like that. Street niggas do. So that's who that's for. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the more like the fashion, just get money type shit, the hustle music, you know, that's street nigga shit, basically. You know what I mean? Like, you can apply it to other areas, but like, if you're listening to the music, it's for street niggas, like, if we're just being real. So, and the other side of that coin is the backpack side, the lyrical, the introspective, the, you know, I want to help people, the, you know what I mean? All that whole side of it, everything that you mentioned about J. Cole, basically. That's the other side of rap. So, and I feel like Nas is like a split down the middle. You know, he's really got conscious records that make you think and make you think about, dang, like, should I be eating this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, dang, did I actually like, you know what I mean, call my mom yesterday, like, because he lost his mom, and I need to make sure, you know what I mean? Like, he make you think, like, but then he has records where, you know, he's shooting up blocks and selling drugs and doing all that too, you know what I mean? So he's like a, you know, and I feel like the older he's gotten, the more he's gotten away from, you know, glorifying the street side more. Like, because there were certain albums, like It Was Written and things like that, where it was like, it was almost written as if it was a movie in the album. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't necessarily meant to be taken serious. It's like you knew Nas wasn't actually out here doing all these things. It was almost more like a movie character. And that's when he created The Firm and all that stuff. But yeah, like the older he's gotten, the more I feel like he's one of those dudes who's like, yo, I'm from where you from, but I want to instill some knowledge on you that's going to help you. And hopefully you can, you know what I'm saying, see the light and not be violent, not wild out, not go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see good things for you and I want you to be healthy and, you know, that whole side of it or whatever. So that seems to be more where he's at today. And the battle rapper who I feel like he would be able to mentor the best, because he's sort of on the same tip, is a rapper named B Dot. Now, B Dot, or B Dot the God, as he's called, he's a rapper. He got famous in, you know, as far as in the battle rap scene, he got famous through King of the Dot, which is a Canadian / West Coast battle league. He's from LA. So that's where, you know, he got his start. Then he went over to URL, you know, which is, you know, the predominantly urban league. And he, you know, was just doing his thing. But all of his material is like very heavy with content and very, you know, he's trying to teach you something while he's battling you. Like, he's belittling you, but he's doing it. Like, for example, he was battling a Puerto Rican guy. And he was like, why would you be proud to call yourself Spanish when Puerto Rico was conquered by the Spaniards? And then he started like breaking down the history of Puerto Rico and like when the people were enslaved there and all that stuff. And he was like, your last name's Cortez. He was like, that's a white man's name from Europe. Your real last name should be. And then he started like giving them the lineage of Puerto Rico before all that happened and shit. Like, he'll do that type of shit in a battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like if he's battling a white dude, then he's going to get extra. Oh, you probably feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Just, you know, like, yeah, that's the type of vibe he's on. He's not, but he also has street bars because the nigga was affiliated with some people in LA. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Like, and he raps about that side. And now he raps about trying to elevate his brothers up. That's why, you know, I'll bring the picture back up. His clothing line is called Elevate. Because that's basically his whole goal now. He's like, yeah, we all from the streets, but we don't all got to stay there. You know, so he's basically kind of on the same mission Nas is on. He makes music. He makes very good music. And, you know, Nas is one of the GOATs. So it's like birds of a feather flock together. You feel me?
Right. Yeah, I think that would be an amazing combo, for real, for real. I didn't know about him until you mentioned him, but I love that he's so complex. And that just sounds like one hell of an ass whooping to battle somebody, they diss you, and they taught you something on the way. That, like, that's crazy. That's a different level of getting your ass rocked.
You learned him up real good.
For real.
I said he learned him up real good.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Learned him up and squabbled him up.
For real.
At the time. Crazy.
Yeah. And I love the mentor, the pick for Nas. Like, I think that'd be perfect. I think you're absolutely right. I think that they would be a really, really great match. I almost kind of also wonder, like, but I feel like we always mention him when we talk about Nas, so maybe I shouldn't mention him. But I was gonna say, who would Jay-Z mentor? Like, I feel like Jay-Z could mentor somebody.
In like, battle rap, I would say if I was going to name a battle rapper for Jay-Z to mentor, it would probably be Arsenal the Rebel.
Okay.
And the reason why I pick him, if you're familiar with Joe Budden's podcast, officially Ice, that's his brother.
Oh, okay.
The reason why I pick Arsenal is because Ars was one of the first battle rappers that started his own league. So now the league didn't work out, but the fact that they put on multiple events with really big names, it did last for a few years. So it wasn't like it immediately flopped. Like it lasted for a little bit of time. And so and he has that entrepreneurial type spirit, obviously, because he wasn't just satisfied being the rapper, getting the check from somebody. He was like, nah, I want to be the one writing the check. Yeah. And that's Jay-Z's whole mentality. So based on that, I would say Ars from battle rap would be Jay-Z's guy.
Oh, okay. I gotta look into him. I don't know enough about battle rap, so I love this conversation altogether because it just helps me learn. But I feel like there's gotta be.
He makes some dope music too. I'll play you some cuts after we get off of here. Yeah, he makes some dope stuff too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ars.
Mm-hmm. I have an outside pick for somebody that Jay-Z could mentor.
What do you think?
Lil Durk.
Really?
Yes.
Why do you say that? I didn't expect that at all.
I think Lil Durk has shown so far that he's come a long way from where he was. Especially from a couple of years ago. He's come a long way from where he was, but you can still tell that Durk he floats in and out of being affiliated with a lot of shit, it seems. And with how far he's gotten and how much better his music is, I feel like Hove would be the perfect person not only to mix musically well with, because of where Durk comes from, but I also think that Jay-Z's business mind will be really good for Durk. Because I think he's probably been one of the hottest rappers of the past, 3 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that it's kind of remarkable that streak hasn't really slowed down at all either. Like every time Durk drops, it's looked at as a big deal. Right. And he's one of those people that people still believe everything that he says. Kind of the same thing with Jay-Z. They believe every word that Jay-Z says, even if a lot of it is embellished.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. But yeah, that's my outside pick.
I like that pick. I think that you're right. Like his business mind, like Hove's business mind would be great for Durk. And because I think Durk is probably one of the only rappers lately who has been trying to do something a little bit different. Like definitely, he has definitely a past in the streets. I mean, and like we already mentioned, a little bit of current dealings in the streets. But with his newest album or his newest song,
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. But like with his newest song, like with J. Cole, I thought that was a big step. Like I was surprised that he was doing something like that, especially for his sound and just for what his image normally is. So I think that it would actually be a good step for him because Jay-Z's already kind of made that transition of like, okay, I'm respected as a businessman and as an artist, rather than just me being from the streets, being an drug dealer and all that kind of stuff. He's honest about it. You know, he raps about it, he talks about it, but he's been able to make that transition really smoothly. So I think that, that'd actually be really good for Durk. That'd be a really good move so that he could do the same thing for sure. So that's actually a really good choice, Eric. But also, I think that you have your last pick for us.
I do. So while you guys went conscious, I decided to go silly with it.
Good. Okay.
So my final mentor is E40. What is there to say about E40 that already hasn't been said? But E40, I feel like, is one of those people who has been so consistent for so long that it goes so like underlooked because he has so many albums, but he's been consistent for years at this point. Whenever he shows up on features, whenever he gets a call from like one of these young guys who need like that Bay Area stamp of approval, who do they call? They call E40. So I think that he's a great representation of someone who has stayed so consistent in who he is that it is 100% worked for him. But he's also like come up with different ways to keep reinventing his flow. Keep reinventing the way that like he puts out rap albums. Yeah, like 27 studio albums. That is a lot of material. You know what I'm saying? And to keep coming up with new concepts and new things to talk about, new ways to rhyme things, like it's kind of incredible. So the person that I think that he should mentor is a rapper out of Flint, Michigan named YNJ. So if you don't know who YNJ is, he probably went viral a couple of years ago for his Coochie record. If you know what song that is. And yeah, there was crazy dances to it all over TikTok, like all of that type of shit. So it was a big deal. If you haven't heard that song, you probably heard it on TikTok and just didn't realize it. If you do have that app and subscribe to that. But anyway, this is another guy.
He was even on like YouTube Reels and Instagram Reels and all that shit, or YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. It was everywhere. Like
everywhere.
It was just mad girls like acting out the shit at the end that he was saying.
I gotta look at lyrics up. You got me so interested now. I'm looking it up. But anyway, finish it.
100%. So he's also another rapper who also is very consistent in who he is. The only difference for the differences for me that I would say is that he stays in his pocket every single song, mixtape, album, whatever you call it. He doesn't really leave that pocket, and it kind of leaves it a little stale, if you know what I mean. Like, you want somebody as creative as that because he's able to talk about a bunch of different subjects and make them all hilarious in his own different way. But I think when you say them the same way over and over again, and when you haven't really come up with a creative way to like reinvent the wheel, so to speak, I think it can leave the music all kind of sounding like one long song instead of sounding like there's a bunch of different ideas here and it executed well throughout an entire project. I think E40 is silly and creative and talented enough to where he's mastered the way to reinvent the wheel over the past however long he's been out for at this point. YNJ is still a newcomer. He's independent. E40 has stayed independent. That was another major thing that I wanted to bring up was that YNJ's been active for a couple of years now. I'm sure at this point, ever since he's gained notoriety off of the viral record that he had, I'm sure he had multiple labels calling, but him and pretty much everyone who he works with have all decided to stay independent. And E40 throughout his entire career has also stayed independent. So I think E40 is the perfect person to give him advice as well on how to maneuver in this game, still be able to put big numbers up while being independent without the major label help. Because he is looked at as a OG in this game, as a legend in this game, and he did that all on his own without any backing. And I think if YNJ wants to achieve that one day, I think E40 is a perfect person to sit down, show him, break down the game, and be like, yo, this is how you can maneuver through the independent game. And then, okay, let me listen to some of your records. Oh, okay, like I see how you was coming with that. Okay, so you have that flow on every song. Okay, so let's come up with some with a few new concepts for flows. Like, let me hear some of your older stuff. Let me see how you were rapping on some of your older stuff so we can incorporate that into some of your newer stuff. So you're still keeping the style all you, so you're not losing any part of you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think E40 is the perfect person for Y&J.
Got you. Yeah, I looked up the lyrics, and now I know exactly what you're talking about, because it was that part that was the damn Coochie Loud part. That's the And I can't lie, I thought it was funny as hell the first time I heard him say Coochie Scout. I was like, what in the fuck? But that shit was just so funny.
Yeah, you're looking for the cat. He a Coochie Scout.
You know what? And man, this shit was so catchy and goofy. Like, you're right. I think that
yeah,
his humor in his lyrics or in his rapping and stuff. So the same way that E40 does, but E40 is like so like creative and is always unique, and like his cadence isn't always the same, and so he's able to like hop on so many different projects. So I think you're so right. If he has somebody who was able to just help him just jump around and be a little bit more versatile, like he could totally have a better career, because I feel like he went crazy right with the TikTok and Instagram sounds and audio or whatever, but I don't think it translated to like.
Well, to be fair, their videos all do numbers.
Their videos all do numbers.
I haven't heard of
to this day. Like,
yeah, their videos all do numbers, and he's put out a lot of music,
a lot of projects,
like a lot.
Yeah. They're all very consistent. Everybody in that clique is Y&J, Louis Ray, Rio the Young OG, RMC Mike, Crispy Light Kid, you know, YSR Grams kind of. But, you know, for the most part, it's like them five. It's RMC Mike, Rio, Louis, and Y&J. Really, it's them four. Like, those are the four that everybody, I'm doing for you guys. I have the thumb up. But yeah, so like those dudes, like, they put out music constantly. Like, put it like this, Rio's been locked up for the last 2 years and has put out the same amount of projects like that he had when he was on the streets. So, it don't even feel like he's left. Like, he put
not really.
Like, they have that much music. Like, the only reason you know is because everybody else keeps saying Free Rio in their music. So it's like, oh yeah, that nigga is locked up still. Like, he just dropped a video yesterday. How the fuck? All right, whatever. Like,
that's crazy as fuck.
These niggas be working, so yeah.
But is it because like the sound, like he does sound a lot, or like the concept is the same? Do you think that's why we don't see him on Instagram as much anymore, or like his audio is going viral like they were before?
That's my opinion. I feel like his flow is like so different and unique, but the same every time. It's like, you have to like love Y&J to want to like really rock out with it. Whereas like pretty much everybody else has more of a standard kind of rap flow, especially for Detroit. So it's like, you can listen to all that shit and it sounds dope. Like, whereas like Y&J, in my opinion, a little bit like after you get through like 2-3 songs, you're like, all right, I'm ready to hear somebody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how it is. Like,
gotcha.
And then it's funny that you mentioned Louis Ray, because the Louis Ray that we've been listening to lately sounds nothing like the LouisRay that has dropped like a couple of years ago. He switched it up completely. Like, he does not rap the same at all anymore, which I kind of like. Every time you put on something, it's like, yo, this is completely left field from what he was doing.
Try some shit.
Yeah.
Try it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I gotta check them out. I didn't realize that he was a part of a whole crew.
Yeah, they don't really have a name, but they do kind of have a group though. Like,
I think like it reminds me of like ASAP or something, but like at least ASAP actually has like, you know, but they're also like in the streets, so I guess that's why they kind of
yeah, they're for sure a group without a name.
Yeah,
they're a group. Them four niggas is a group.
Yeah,
like, and they do a lot of shit with Lil Yachty too. Lil Yachty did a lot for Michigan on the real. He put out an album called Michigan Boy Boat. And it was featuring nothing but Michigan rappers, and Sway Lee for some reason was on there. But
yeah, I don't know why.
Other than that, everybody else was from Detroit and Flint. That shit was fire.
That's
like,
dope.
And up until like leading up into that album, he was dropping mad videos and songs with a gang of Detroit dudes. Like, he was just like constantly in Detroit. It was like, I don't know where this connection came from, but fuck it. Like, good looking out, Yachty.
Yeah, he went on like it felt like he like almost lived there for like 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it felt like.
I make music. I'm like, yo. That's what's up,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right. I think that we had some really good picks for this one. I really enjoyed our conversation for real. Yeah, I hope that everybody at home enjoyed it as well. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And you guys can see us every Monday here on Bar Exam. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.